Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Rohan, episode number 7. Before we jump into the episode proper, I just want to give a quick shout out to a friend of mine by the name of Mr. Smart Donkey LP. And the reason for this is because he's been spotted in the comments giving me shit, essentially. Allegedly, this is very bizarre to me. I want to preface this. This is very bizarre to me. Allegedly, by his own admission, he's been watching my videos. He watches my content, which is, it's utterly bizarre to me. He is the one and only Total War YouTuber who has ever admitted to regularly watching my content. So that just goes to show you that there's something wrong with this guy. Nah, I'm just fucking around. You know what? Head over to his channel, Mr. Smart Donkey LP. He's currently doing a playthrough of the Realm of Imladris on Divide and Conquer. I'm sure he's actually playing a newer version than I am, actually. He's playing as... yeah, the Realm of Imladris. I'm not exactly sure which faction this is. I think it's like, you know, Rivendell elves. I think. I can't quite recall where they are, but... anyway, head over to his channel. He uploads much more frequently than I do, so I'm sure you'll enjoy his shit more than mine. I don't know, head on over there. Thanks for watching. Dunk. He's also much more handsome than I are. My god, much more handsome than I am, and also much Dutchier than I am. Anyway, you know what? Let's just move on. I could shit talk about that guy all day. So let's observe what lies before you. What do mine eyes see? I see a massive army of Isengard besieging a fort full of 72 virgins. No, it's 72 Yorling archers. This is not exactly what those suicide bombers envisioned when they gave their lives for the cause. We've got 72 archers in this fort. They've been besieged by, what's his name? It's Muzthak, isn't it? Yeah. And we're gonna have to relieve these fellows at some point. I'm not sure how I'm going to accomplish this. On a side note, though, we are making 2,300 shiny doubloons per turn, so that means that we are basically free to recruit as much as we require, essentially. And to that end, we've actually recruited 2 units of scouts, one in Foldberg, one in Dunlistier. We have retrained 2 units of Riders of Rohan up in Edoras. Theoden is going to see them off. He's going to wave them through the gate with like a white kerchief in his hand. Now that may sound as if he's surrendering to his own men, but what's actually happening is he's playing it very coy. He's covering his face from the nose down. You may be able to hear that the way I'm speaking changes because I'm actually physically putting my hand in front of my face. He's hiding his face with one hand. He's waving the handkerchief in the other. Quite I don't know, there's no politically correct way to say this. He's quite homosexual, if you get my drift. And he's kind of going, oh, hello. I guess it would actually be goodbye, strong, brave men. That's horribly stereotypical. So let's move on before YouTube flags my videos or something. They demonetize my fucking life. Okay, we've got a spy over here. We're gonna move him. Goodbye. And then as they come back, hello. Okay, we're gonna move the spy a little bit west to check out what Isengard is doing. We've basically, my understanding is we've bisected their territory. They only have one more region, and it's Bregnas. I could be wrong, but this is essentially how I'm reading the situation here. Look at this wonderful corner. This always reminds me of northern Canada, where the 4 corners of the provinces meet beautifully. But we're not going to dwell on that. I think I've talked about that before. I don't know. The relations with the Dunlendings has become poor because they've announced their alliance with the Shadow of Mordor, which is incredibly interesting. In that it it's not really interesting. By incredibly interesting, I mean it is entirely predictable, and I could have seen it coming from a million miles away. So, yes, we need to relieve the siege of whatever fucking fort this is. Fort Details. This Rohirric fort, because my worry is that Muzthak will then occupy that fort, and he will use it as a base of operations and, again, essentially bisect our kingdom. We have Eomer and a few forces, a few men in Ginyard. Unfortunately, we are unable to get any men to the front line aside from what's currently here.
Your orders, my lord.
We've got the 2 units of scouts. One of them can't even reach, unfortunately.
My lord. My lord.
You know what?
Your will, my lord.
Yes.
What's
my
the
lord.
worst that could happen if he actually captures this fort? Really? He marches out and attacks Ginyard. Well, that is actually much worse because there there are no walls in Ginyard,
Your
and he would just crush us. So this is a matter of we really need to do this right now, is what I'm trying to say. And we are unable to get any mercenaries of any kind. I don't think we can do this right now. Actually. We may have to withdraw to Fulberg.
Orders.
Should we withdraw to the bridge head? Would that work? Okay, yes. I think we will have to withdraw. There's no other way for it. We
Yes,
overextended a little bit, and it's incredibly embarrassing because I definitely... I believe I predicted this previously.
Your orders, my lord.
Potentially what could happen here is that Muzthak will just march into the town and he'll leave the fort alone. That's kind of asking for a lot.
Yes, my lord.
Although we did buy ourselves some time, enough time to
Your orders, my lord.
fortify
My lord.
the bridge. I say fortify, but really we've just...
Your will, my lord.
Oh, you know what we could do? We could take the long way around. What the fuck would that do for us? I don't know, but I feel as if I don't want Eomer sitting on this bridge. Unless they come as reinforcements. Doesn't matter if Eomer's there. Not really. I don't know. I'm just... I wouldn't say struggling, but I feel like I'm floundering. You know, like I'm just... I'm desperate for some sort of... Some sort of move I can make, and there's just nothing. There's nothing I can do. So, I think we need to build some buildings. Let's take a look at Edoras very quickly. Actually, no. Let's take a look at Foldberg, currently building, actually. If we build a great hall in Edoras, that will reduce our building costs. It's not going to do much, actually. If we build a tomb, that also won't do much. A market, I believe, is very ineffective at this point. 50 gold, yeah. A leather tanner, ballista maker, practice range. Could we use Yorling archers? I think we could, actually. Because as it is right now, we have no missile capabilities aside from the Helmingas. You know, we're going to have to crank taxes up to very high for the moment being. Actually, no, we'll leave it at high just for the population growth. There's nothing worthwhile building in Edoras, so we'll instead recruit some swordsmen and some axemen, some somewhat useful... Actually, what is this? Skirmishers, horse archers... Oh, that's what's going on here. Yeah, most of our missile capabilities are actually found in our cavalry. What am I... I'm just completely forgetting and neglecting that part of the situation. I feel as if spears and javelins are going to be helpful. I feel as if axes are helpful. We now have 900 gold left. What can we do with 900 gold? Can we... Okay, let's see. If there's anything worthwhile building in perhaps the Hornburg. A great hall there isn't going to do much either. Oh, no. Communal farming. Oh, a mining network. 5,000 gold. Fuck me. Communal farming. What's that going to do? That's going to give us militiamen and scouts. It's going to increase our income by 70 coins. That's not very useful. Good lord. There's not much to do here. So we'll just do a bit of recruitment. That's all we can do. Axes. Okay. Yeah, I'm really concerned about what Muzthak is going to do. All we can do is end the turn and see what he does. Let's take a gamble. Gamble with me. And we'll see what's going on. Come fly with me. Come fly. We'll fly away. We'll give the scouts to Éomer. And maybe stick 30 axemen in Fulberg. There we go. Just to make sure that somehow Muzthak doesn't ford the river and capture Fulberg when we're not looking. That would be utterly, utterly embarrassing. Okay, I'm dreading this ending of the turn. I'll even I'll commentate over the boring end turn sequence as well, just to increase the tension. Okay, Captain Harding. I'm sorry, old pal, but you're fucked, basically. And there he goes. He's going to capture the fort and march into Guignard, I would assume. No, he's just going to chill in the fort. Okay. We're going to reap the incomes of Guignard for a little bit longer. Interesting. Good lord, who is Captain Elfwine? Oh no. Who was in that army? Shit, Grima, you piece of human filth.
Your orders.
Ceolwulf, who was in that army?
Yes, my lord.
Tell me. Tell me now.
Your orders, my lord.
Oh well, they must not have been expensive. I think it was a militia unit, perhaps. We have scouts in Onadrith? Why would I do that? That is so far away.
My lord.
I'm not sure. We're gonna march them to Edoras, regardless. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. We're going to... Man, we can actually move incredibly far with our cavalry. I love it. That's why I want it. That's why I want Éomer to be his own cavalry army, so that he can just fucking ride around like the Rohirrim he is to rule the world.
Yes, my lord.
And then we'll stick all of the boring, lazy infantry in the cities and whatnot. And it's going to be true to the old...
Yes, your orders, my lord.
What am I trying to say? The universe, I guess? The lore of the universe? Okay, we've got Gamling now, ready to defend Fulberg. We're going to grab Erkenbrand, where the fuck he is. We're going to move him into Hornburg, because that is his rightful place as the... didn't he have... I could have sworn he had some sort of ancillary...
Yes, my lord.
That proved he was the rightful lord of... Oh, very bizarre. I know that his bodyguard is a unit of Helmingas, is it not? Yeah. That's enough evidence for me. Okay, so we've got a unit of spears. Is that really 178 men? That's all you have? Okay. Very odd particular number, but we're going to move them to the front lines regardless. 2 units of spears here. We'll grab these swords and these spears. We'll move them back to the Hornburg. For they need to be retrained. There we go. Now we ought to have a unit of axemen. Although with Grima kicking around, I'm not so sure that I want to move troops without an escort by a lord or something.
Yes, my lord.
Speaking of...
My lord.
What was my segue here? Speaking of lords? I'm not sure. We're going to move these 2 units of horsemen over to Edoras. They will eventually retrain.
Yes, my lord.
Éomer is once again at the command of a moderate cavalry force. There's essentially nothing here, though. That's the thing. These scouts, I'm sure, are completely useless. These riders of Rohan, again, mostly completely useless. Okay, what do we need here? We need some bodies, basically. So we'll get a unit of militia. And we're currently building some stables, which will allow us to, recruit and retrain these fuckers right here. Wonderful. In Dunlestier, we can actually retrain some militiamen there. And eventually build a town guard, which would help me out immensely. Can I build a town guard? Okay, I can build some garrison quarters in Foldberg eventually. How about the Hornburg? The Hornburg, we could build some stables. I think for the most part, we're just kind of stuck with what we have for the time being. We desperately need some militiamen in Onodrith, though. We don't want to be caught out with our pants down. No one garrisoning the city. I can't believe, did we not build any...
Yes.
Any watchtowers up here? It seems not. We really ought to build a watchtower on the road to the capital, Edoras. There we go.
This tower will keep vigil
Move
over the lands.
Fatty McFats over here back into Aldburg. And just so that they don't rebel. And end the turn, essentially, because, again, not much going on. I think we'll just keep an eye on Muzthak and his army, because it's mean. It's incredibly mean. He's got 120 guards of the Orthanc. I think it's a bit softer than the last army we dealt with. It's hard to say, honestly. All I know is that this unit card is essentially the spy unit card from vanilla 3rd Age Total War. That's all I know. And I also recognize this portrait. I think this guy is actually in my employ in my Mordor campaign. Alright, we'll end the turn here. I'll see you guys in just a few moments. Well, interestingly enough, in the winter of 2983 of the 3rd Age, Muzthak, for some ungodly reason, has moved a single tile outside of this fort. He has not occupied Gnird. He's not garrisoning this fort. He's just out in the fucking open. I'll tell you what, Muzthak is a much worse general than Ugluk ever was. He's half the general Ugluk is. I mean, this is a rookie mistake. Because what's going to happen here is I'm going to grab all of my generals, all of my cav, all of my infantry, and I'm going to crush this fucking army as best I can, because it requires a native province, requires Helm's Deep. Amazing. You require Helm's Deep. Build more overlords. Yeah, we're going to crush this army because I feel as if Isengard has dick all aside from this army. So if we destroy these guys, occupy this fort here, I think we can pen them in until we get to a point where we're ready to besiege Isengard proper. I think once we besiege Isengard, there may be some sort of scripting involved that's going to basically ruin my fucking day. I don't know if that's still the case in Divide and Conquer, but it's certainly the case for vanilla 3rd Age, and I'm going to have to look at that once I'm done here. So we've recruited a bunch in the Hornburg, or retrained rather. We've recruited in Foldberg, Onodrith, we now have a garrison, and Edoras we finally have our skirmishers available. Grima, you son of a gun.
Yes,
Okay, we'll get Erkenbrand to, I think, escort these men. Okay. Until they reach the Foldberg. Until they reach Foldberg. Okay, we have one unit of swordsmen that can garrison the city once we build this army here. Let's do a quick test here with our spearmen. Can we occupy this fort and then attack Muzthak? We certainly can.
Yes, my lord.
Okay, gambling, Aomend. We're going to put all of our eggs, unfortunately, into one shitty basket, led by the wonderful man that is Éomer, Prince Éomer. We are going to ride out and destroy Muzthak.
Your orders, my lord.
Not now. We're not going to do it now. We are going to do it next video. Oh, good lord! Next episode, we will we'll ride out to meet these fucking dickheads,
Orders. Your will, my
led by
your
Muzthak.
command.
I think we need a stronger garrison in Foldberg. Another unit there. That's just fine. 1 unit of garrison plus our brother-in-law Kaelwulf. Onodrith just has a single unit of militia. Aldberg, I think, needs a unit of militia as well. Are they free upkeep units? Apparently not. Because I think we need a meeting hall. We need a meeting hall to actually get some free upkeep. I don't think it's worthwhile to build one in Onodrith yet. Maybe Dunlistier if it comes to it. Foldberg, definitely. Oh, speaking of Foldberg, we finally built some stables there. And now we are able to recruit and retrain all of our cavalry units, which is wonderful. It's going to be a slow trickle of units, but it will take the strain of Edoras. Essentially, we're having to ride across the entirety of Rohan, the kingdom of Rohan as it currently is, to retrain our cavalry, which is ridiculous. In Foldberg, can we build a meeting hall? We definitely can, and we shall do for 800 gold. That will reduce our building costs by 8%, get some free upkeep units, and also increase our recruitment slots to 3, I want to say, or by 3. It will increase our recruitment slots to 3, I think, which would be great for our frontline fort, allowing us to get as much cavalry as necessary. We now have 600 gold left, and I don't know what to do with it. I may
Yes, my lord.
build a watchtower along this road as well, with Fatty McTubbs here.
With honor. This
There we go.
tower will keep vigil
Shit.
over the lands. Yes.
Aldberg is losing its shit because
Lord,
their
my
chief pie-eating
Yes, my lord.
captain, I guess, chief pie-eater of the realm has left the building.
Orders, my lord.
The thing with Elfhelm is, like, on one hand, I realize that this is an actual dude who's now walking the earth as I'm trashing him, but let's just pretend that he's a fictional character and that this portrait is a fictional portrait as well. This is not a photo of someone. Let's just pretend for a moment that that's a thing. Elfhelm just looks like... He looks like such an unimpressive person. That's what it is. He looks like he's an IT tech at a failing company. He got his degree in the late 80s, and he hasn't updated his wardrobe since. He hasn't updated his skills since. He just looks like he goes into work, hating his life, comes home, eats some ice cream, maybe shaves if he feels enough shame as he looks in the mirror.
Yes, my lord.
We'll get... I know that may be offensive to IT techs. I'm just saying, like, if you're a young, hip IT tech, you're not Elfhelm. You're learning new skills. You're bettering yourself as a person. You are not an Elfhelm, okay? Elfhelm is a guy that's just behind the times, who has refused
Your
to
orders, my lord.
maintain his position as a functioning member of society. Man, just really ripped into Elfhelm there. I feel like that. The words themselves don't sound particularly insulting, but
Yes,
when
my
you
lord.
phrase it
orders,
in
my
such a
lord.
way, it's definitely... It cuts deep, I think. You know, it's
tower will keep
like if someone
vigil
calls you
over
an
the
asshole,
lands.
you're like, oh yeah, that kind of sucks. But if
Assembling
someone's
a
like,
mighty host.
your parents are disappointed in you or something like that, your parents are disappointed that you got a liberal arts degree, you know, that cuts deep. That cuts really deep. Anyway, guys, I'm just rambling at this point. We've built a bunch of watchtowers, so now we have a much better idea of what's actually going on in the rural regions of our kingdom. When we come back, we will do our very
Yes, my
best,
lord.
oh Lord, to tear apart Muzthak, at the very least cut his army down to size.
Gonna stick you.
I think what we could do is maybe try to do a bit of hit and run with our cavalry, and depending on how that goes, we could either engage or withdraw. Either way, we're still in the fort, and Muzthak is going to have a much harder time doing any damage. He's going to have to besiege the fort. He's going to have to besiege Foldberg. He could very well occupy Ginyard if we're not careful. Much the same with Captain Gorthrak. Gorthrak? who has some well-armored clan spearmen, apparently. Look at that fucking mob. Like preteens running to get tickets at a Justin Bieber concert. All right, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment. Again, check out Mr. Smart Donkey LP. He has a YouTube channel. He uploads a shit ton of videos, much more than I do. Most every one of them, I think, is related to Total War in some way. And he is actually a much better player as well. Much better than I am. Perhaps not at Medieval 2, but he's definitely better at every Total War game from then on. He's playing on Legendary, shit like that. When I close my eyes at night, I only dream of playing on Legendary. In actual fact, I find it far too tedious. But anyway, you know what? If you wanted to get in touch with me, check me out on Twitter. That's at Incoherencel. As always, my name is Incoherence. This has been another episode of the Rohan campaign. I will see you guys possibly next Thursday or earlier. I'm not sure. Have a good weekend.